Hi, everybody. This is Brodnax here with Stager Talk, and I am here with Ryan Marsh, who is like my new favorite person. And Ryan, thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to jump on here with you and talk shop with you. Super excited.
I am super excited. So Ryan, for those of you who may not be familiar with Ryan, Ryan has come on to OnStage, which is one of Portland's, how do we even describe it? Just premier, top gear, you name it. Todd McAllister's company up in Portland, Oregon area. It's just been amazing to watch Todd grow over the years. And then he brought Ryan on. How long ago did you come on?
So I've been here for about 3 years and 9 months. Who's counting, right?
3 years, 9 months. And in that 3 years and 9 months, Ryan, can you just tell everybody how many additional locations that y'all have put into the OnStage platform?
You know, a lot of the big growth happened in the last, I would say, 2 years. We brought in Seattle, and that was really, in essence, an experiment. We learned a lot from that venture, a lot of things that we applied to our two most recent locations that we added on in the last 6 months. But yeah, we found great success in our model so far. Yeah.
So you did Seattle, and then you have another location?
Yeah, so we added Boise recently, January 1st, actually, and we're kind of taking two different approaches. Boise, the location we just started there, is completely organic, start from scratch. You know, you get an empty shell warehouse, you bring in the inventory, and you build your business from the ground up. And then April 1st, we actually did an acquisition and bought another staging business over in San Francisco. And we just kind of wanted to see the transition, what that looked like for us, as far as how cumbersome it would be, how successful it would be as far as seeing a return on our investment. Of course, one was substantially more expensive than the other, but it's been a great experiment so far.
I love it. I'm so excited. So in case anybody wasn't able to math that right now, it's Portland, Idaho, Boise, Idaho, San Francisco, and Seattle, 4 locations. I don't know anybody in 15 years, and I think I know a lot of people in the staging industry over the last 15 years that have had 4 locations. So well done.
Thank you. It's, well done. You know, it comes down to process. It really does. It comes down to consistency with your team. Knowledge is power. If your team knows what they're doing and you're able to not necessarily delegate, but empower people to make decisions, that makes the transition substantially smoother.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So let's talk a little bit about RESACON, because I was so fortunate this year to be able to take advantage of your kind offer to speak at RESACON. And if anybody would like to follow along or go afterwards, go to the RESAconvention.com website and look up Ryan, and you can actually see an outline about what it is that he's going to talk about. And one of the things that really stuck out to me, I'm going to read something in your outline. You said the goal of the presentation is to outline how to create value for your company through appropriate strategic decision-making processes and long-term planning. And I love that statement because it says so much. And that's really what your topic is going to be about. It's like, let's grow your business, but let's talk a little bit about, and watch everybody, Ryan's face is going to smile right now, economic theory. Economics.
Okay. Right. Yeah. So creating value for your business, it sounds wonderful. Everyone wants to have a business that's, valued millions, 5 million. They want to see the value, right? Eventually, if they want to sell. And really, it gets down to the nitty gritty. It's the theory behind your business, is the economic theory that you apply to your business, and it's your long-term planning that creates value within your business. The structures, the processes you put in place will eventually unfold and create this value for your business. And economic theory, it's wonderful. It shows you how the market will react to certain changes to your model. One of my go-tos is the supply and demand curve. We hear a lot about stagers who are constantly running out of furniture. I'd say 90% of people in the industry have this issue where they're constantly running out of product. Well, I would say that's a good issue to have. But it's a good indication that they're potentially they're selling themselves short. They're selling their product short. It might be a good time to increase prices, especially if they're selling out of their product and they're unable to buy more product. That's an extreme indication that there's a flaw within their pricing system. And the supply and demand curve is pretty simple. It looks at how much demand there is for your product as opposed to the price. And basically the two lines will intersect and tell you how many projects you are projected to complete at a certain price. So it tells you where to price your product at. And we've used that here at OnStage regularly as market. The reason it's so integral in any business model is it really helps you grow with the market. Not every market has a similar situation or a similar demand for staging. So as that market continues to grow, you're able to look at the demand for your service and increase your pricing as needed. And there's other factors that go into that. The theory of utility, which is another one I'm a big fan of. If your clients are getting a substantial amount of utility out of the service you're providing to them, they're willing to pay more for it. So kind of one of the things I've had in my mind lately is if you buy cutthroat furniture and you offer a cutthroat service, you're only going to be able to get a cutthroat number out of that as far as what your customers are going to be willing to pay you for that service. So creating value within your business is from day one. When you start your business, are you refining your product? Are you offering something to your customers that will provide them with that utility and make it no question about whether or not the value is there for that service?
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And so are you going to be able to explain some of these theories and give some formulas that people can take away? I know you can't combine your 4 to 6 year degree that you have, in an 80-minute session, but are there some simple formulas that people can follow?
So yeah, I'm planning on doing some sort of handout to kind of show some of these charts. Really, Excellent. A lot of this is shown pretty well in graphs and charts. And I think that's what the listeners will connect with. Anybody that's at the presentation will really connect with is the visuals. It's the visual industry. So we know that our business owners in the staging industry will connect with visuals. But yeah, I'm going to break it down. I'm not going to go over too many things too far in depth. I only want to bring things to the table that are going to be takeaways that can be pretty immediately applied to any sort of business model. But the goal is to have a lot of visuals and some sort of handout for them for the presentation.
So the average stager that's coming into business, if they set things up correctly, they should be able to see sustainable growth versus, one of the big things questions I get is people say, do I need $100,000 to start my business? Do I need to go out and get a loan? But I think if you did, there's a way to be able to do that and still be profitable, to be able to pay that back and to be able to grow a sustainable business. But you've got to you can't go in it looking at with a hobbyist attitude and take a $100,000 loan out and expect to be successful.
Absolutely. You've got to have a plan. And really, people throw out there, I need $100,000 to start this business. Well, why? Is that what your numbers said? There's always some sort of metric or always some sort of estimation you can put together to decide what you're going to need as far as funding or as far as cash flow to support some amount of growth. There's always a number at the bottom line that says, this is what I'm short, this is what I will need. So it really depends on the scale of the business that decides how much you have to invest to get it going. But you can start at any level. If you purchase one house worth of furniture and your plan is to use that one house worth of furniture for the next 6 months of stage to try and grow some sort of cash flow in order to grow to 2 houses, you better know what you're going to price that one house for, because you have to know how many times do I have to turn this house worth of furniture in order to make that next leap and purchase my next house worth of furniture. And that's where the pricing is so delicate within this market, is a lot of people give their services away way too much. They're not able to move forward because they haven't set themselves up in a way where they can make those investments.
Absolutely. And another thing, I think, some people, they allow, a client to try to get them to come down on their price. And I've found in my experience in coaching with stagers is that the ones that have the plan and understand why they charge what they charge, when you have that, the graphic, when you have the numbers, when you have the metrics, you have the system down, and you know why you charge that, it's much easier to stick by your pricing than it is when you don't know that. People are, okay, well, I can, give you $800 off. And it's like, well, that $800 has to come from someplace.
Right. It's most like your margin, really. It is.
Exactly. For every dollar you discount, you've reduced your profit.
Right. And kind of my philosophy on discounting, if you're wondering, that customer better bring you a ton of business, or it better be the slow season. If you're running hot and you're 2 weeks out on your schedule, there's no reason you should discount your services in any way to get a project to the door. And number one, it's typically a red flag with that customer. They're going to be there through the entire process. They're going to nitpick the entire process from start to finish because they already have an objection to the value that you're providing to them.
Right. And something that we talked a little bit about before the show started, that my background, I had a strong collections background as a private investigator, worked with attorneys for, lawsuits and things like that. And when you're in a collections industry, and this theory absolutely applies to discounting your services, you have a debt. If I have a $100 debt I'm trying to collect and I settle that debt for less, let's say I settle it for $50, but I still have an end of the month goal of how much I need to collect to hit that goal. Now I have that goal, that $50 is now a new adjusted daily goal. So now that 50 has to go on someplace else. And then to make that up, I would have had to maybe have collected 15 more accounts to make up the difference for what it is that I've done. So it's the same theory when you put that into a staging business. Every time you come down on your price, your bottom line is affected. So you have to fill that back in your bottom line bank account, so to speak, which means that you just won't make it up on the next one. You would, and because if you do it on the next one, and then you do it on the next one, you're going to end up having to, you might end up having to do, 30 houses to be able to make the money back that you discount something.
And it's about setting a precedence as well. If you're known for offering discounts in your market, if you're known for negotiating, it's going to be a part of your process with every client you work with. Because we know in this industry, a lot of our new work is referral based. And so if you have a real estate agent going to another real estate agent saying, hey, work with her, she negotiates, you can talk her down. It's going to be a precedent that you're going to set in that market. It's going to be an obstacle that you're going to have to overcome at some point if you plan to take it to the next level.
Right. And that's why I like a friend of mine uses, Christine Ray uses the term integrity pricing. It's the same price for everybody. I like that theory. And they're not going to ask you to continually, come down on your price. And it's just a much better mindset to be able to be in when you actually know what goes into your business, and then you don't come down on the price. It also makes you more confident. And when you stick to that, they stop asking you. Especially if you put the value into it. If you're making everything sell and it's wonderful and it looks fantastic and you're making them look like a rock star, great. But I think a lot of stagers get into the concept that they don't understand that when they negotiate, they're negotiating with somebody that negotiates for a living.
Right.
Real estate agents do that for a living. I wouldn't even step foot in that arena to negotiate, because automatically they do it all the time. They're just trained better at it. So if you just stick with your pricing and you just make that your professional policy, then you eliminate that.
Right. I'm guilty of it as well. I'm of the mindset that if you never ask, you never really know.
Yeah.
So almost any service that we get, I ask for some sort of discount, especially if it's somebody that we work with regularly. So you have to think about kind of their mindset. If it's something they're regularly used to asking for, they're just asking because you never really know, right? So they're not even necessarily expecting that discount in order to proceed with you, but they're going to throw it out there no matter what.
Right. And a lot of times, and I myself will do the same thing. I might ask, I don't expect to get, and I'm not upset if I don't get, but on the other hand, as someone that is very familiar with how to negotiate, if you're not going to stand by your theory and by your price, and you want it, and you're going to come down on it just because I asked, I'm going to take it. It's like a chess move. I don't necessarily expect it, but I'm going to ask for it. And if I get it, great. If not, and you have what I want, I'm still going to pay you for it.
Right. And if it was easy the first time, I'm probably going to ask for more the next time.
Right.
I mean, that's
Absolutely.
just the mentality that's the customer. You have to know your customer.
Yeah.
And that's our clientele.
Yeah. And I actually respect people too. Like when I go in, and certain people I won't. If it's a really, really true entrepreneur type situation, I actually don't ask for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I have somewhat of a respect for them being an entrepreneur. I understand that, when you come down on that price, you have to get it from someplace else. So there's certain things I will and certain ones that I won't. And if I get it, great. And if I'm not, I respect it, and you just kind of move forward. Absolutely love that. So you're also going to talk about bottom-up budgeting starting from a net income. So is this kind of like the profit first theory?
Yeah, it's very similar. In fact, it is exactly what he kind of preaches. And the reason I think this will resonate with a lot of anybody who really attends the presentation is I think that they think there's no light at the end of the tunnel, right? You're a smaller company. You're probably anticipating that there's years and years of growth that have to happen before you can even pay yourself. And for me, I would encourage anybody, any staging business owner, to incorporate their salary or their net income, whatever they need to survive, into their budget and figure out, okay, what do my sales goals need to be? What do my expenses need to be? What do I have to sell my product for? And it really tells you, if I want to make this a reality, this is the work I need to put in. And then the next step is to figure out how to achieve those goals.
Yeah, absolutely. I always tell people too, you got to work backwards, from those numbers. And people often, you try to set your price first and then it doesn't work. And it's like, no, work backwards for what you got to do. And you have to have the strategy. I'm a very big on goals and strategy. I actually wrote a book on it. And it's super important because you can have the goal, but if you don't literally sit down and write out your strategy of what it is that you need to do and mind map that and brainstorm it, you're not even going to see obstacles that might get in your way. And, I'm a big thing on obstacles. They're not there to keep you out. They're there to keep people out that don't want it badly enough. So it's just something else that you need to navigate in order to reach that goal. But then once you have the strategy, it's a blueprint. It's actual plan. So as long as you follow that plan, you're going to be able to hit your goal. And if an obstacle hits in the way, that's okay. Blow it up, go around it. Don't change your goal. Just now change your strategy a little bit.
Yeah, it helps with accountability as well. If you have your plan set out in front of you, you know what you have to do to get the work done. Whereas if you're just kind of going off cuff and providing some sort of service at some sort of price, you don't really know. You're not really setting yourself up for a sustainable future.
Yeah, absolutely. So anything else that you want to touch on that we want to share with everybody about what you might talk about at RESACON?
Not necessarily. Really just going over some basic economic theory. I think a lot of people in the industry are concerned to make changes to pricing or concerned about their ability to price things appropriately. And so this theory might clear up some of that concern and get some people to make some jumps. Really, the industry is in its infancy, and we all know this. It hasn't been around that long to the point where universally there's some sort of expectation for pricing and whatnot. So it's our job as the experts to establish what the pricing is in the industry, in the markets that we're operating in. And so I might try to provide some theory behind that and how that can help create value for the business. Because there's no point in providing staging if you're breaking even. That's not really a business. It really is a hobby at that point. If you're investing all your time into something and you're not receiving any sort of return from it, you've got yourself a hobby.
That is very, very true. And also all of these tips and tools that you're going to be able to teach people, that's if they can get this in and they get very, very profitable, along with some of the other topics that are at RESACON, the warehousing. Todd's going to talk about that, be able to get your warehouse. We have an HR person who's going to be able to teach people about getting their employee handbooks together and your policies and procedures and your manuals for your company. All of this is about profitability, because one day y'all are going to want an exit strategy. And I've seen it happen, especially now in the last few years. I've been in the industry for about 15 years, going on 16 years. And so we've seen people that have started from way back when that are coming now and saying, I need an exit strategy. but yet they had none of these things in place. So they end up just liquidating. And that's that it can be an effective a liquidation strategy could be good for somebody if that's the direction that you want to go. But to really, really get some value at it and to be able to pass that on to somebody else, even somebody that has been working with you to, manage them up through the process to where they might take over the company, that's something that's ideal, because then you can provide, your employees have something that's vested in it. And, when you can get a 401k going or profit sharing and things of that nature for your employees, you talked about empowering them to make those decisions earlier. All those things just benefit your business in the long run and make it sellable. Right.
And I would say the most important thing when you go into and you get to the point where you're ready to sell your business is to make sure that you're uninvolved from the process. If I'm in here day to day and the business depends on me to function, that negates a huge amount of value for this business, because there's a good chance when I sell it, I'm not going to be here. So it's kind of it's gonna unravel. So you have to make sure you have those plans in place, the structure in place. And a lot of time when you go to sell your business, they're not looking at your current position. They're looking at what was done previously in the past as well. They want to see that you had good records, that you were profitable for long term, because anybody can, stop investing in their inventory and make a nice little net income in 1 year just to try and show that there's value within the business. But what that says to me is that you had to force the profitability of your business, and the value truly isn't there. So, and I would say more often than not, if you go to sell your business or staging business right now, you're probably just going to get liquidation for it unless it's able to operate on its own feet.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's hard for a lot of people too, when you're used to being, one person doing it for so long, and you might bring on a team member and you have a second person doing it. But when you really get into the point when you have, 5 employees, 4 employees, and you keep growing, you as the entrepreneur, as the business owner, the manager, the director, you can't possibly be involved in everything. And I know what it's like, because I feel we have full-time staff at RESA and, 4 other full-time employees. And so I can't know every single project, every single day, what's happening. It's hard to let go. It's a little scary, but it's, I've always had the theory of find great people, put them in place, and then get out of their way. Let them take some ownership of their positions. So, you want that type of person in there that does treat it like their own. It takes that ownership, because it's just going to add so much more value. So I know it's scary for a lot of people to kind of let go, but it's letting go is necessary in order to grow.
Absolutely. I would agree 100%. And, there's a correlation between ownership and the productivity of your employees. If you really tell them that this is their task, this is their job, you want them to work and develop this process, they are going to really take ownership and run with that. And there's going to be a whole lot, a next level production from them. They're going to work a lot harder to make that happen, because the buck stops with them. So having control, it's nice to know exactly what's going on within your business and every aspect of it. Truly it is, but it's hard to grow and scale up your business if that is one of your benchmarks, is that you need to be involved in each step. It's almost impossible. I mean, I'll say we're going on between 60 and 70 employees at any time right now. And if I knew exactly what each one of them was doing right this second, we probably wouldn't be where we're at right this second. Yeah, it's impossible to track it all. It really is. But like you said, it's important. Let go to grow. We got a question online. How did you end up in the staging industry? What brought you here? It's interesting. It's an interesting story. It really is. So my freshman year of college, actually, I started working in the warehouse for Todd and Ellen, and basically I saw a need. There was just antiquated practices going on. No offense. Everyone starts somewhere, right? And they're not as in touch with technology as the millennial generation is this day and age. So I offered my services. I had worked previously front desk for a hotel, did some night audit stuff. So I was able to jump in there and kind of take the books on. And from there, I just had idea after idea. And as I continued to learn, as I continued to pursue my degree, all these different ideas or all these different concepts I was learning, I was able to apply. So it created a symbiotic relationship where as these new ideas were coming into my head, I was able to really put them into practice and see how it would function within the business. So it turned into an experiment for me, but the experiment worked out well. So I worked in the warehouse about a month before I infiltrated the office. By that time, it took about 3 months to get everything digitized, update the processes a little bit in there. And from there, I just kind of took it and ran with it. They had been doing it for so many years. They had to reinvent themselves after '08. And so they kind of paid their dues, and I was ready to step in and kind of take the reins and make it happen for them.
I love it. It's just a great story. And it's well-deserved. Todd he's a great human being, is like I like to call him. He really is, and he loves to give back. And I'm so excited to see his success over the years, and so excited that you're part of the team.
Yeah, I'm, honored to be a part of this team, and to say that he's generous. That's the least you could say. He's got a very kind heart. He wants the best for people, and that's kind of, for him, it was a little bit to his detriment, because taking care of a customer went above and beyond just providing good staging. He has a tendency to really go above and beyond and make sure that they're happy. So, I'm grateful to be where I am with this company.
Yep, absolutely. Well, that's going to about wrap it up, unless anybody has some questions. If the last few minutes you want to post them, that would be great. I'll talk a little bit about RESACON. If you are registered, fantastic. If you've now seen Ryan and you want to take his session, please feel free just to do that once you get to RESACON. If you're on the fence about getting to RESACON, please check us out at resaconvention.com. Ryan will be speaking about this fantastic topic, as well as a lot of other fantastic speakers. This year, it's about profit. It's about influencers. Still about everybody coming together and driving this industry forward. We are also going to have the Home Staging Industry Awards Banquet, as we do every year. And we welcome you to come. Tickets are still on sale. We're in your regular ticket pricing at this point. And as it gets closer to July, then we're going to switch over to last minute pricing. So you definitely want to get your pricing now. And Ryan, thank you again. I can't wait to meet you in person. It's been a total joy. And I really do mean it. I talked to him a little bit before we started, and I read your outline, and I just have this super appreciation the way that your mind thinks. I can see it. It's literally, it just burst off the page to me. And I just want you to know it's really well done.
I'm super excited to share some knowledge with some of the other owners. There's a lot of people out there struggling because they don't have a background. So, I'm happy to provide some guidance, because I know it not only will it drive their business, but it'll drive this industry, and it's something I'm very passionate about.
All right. You heard it. Get to RESACON, and you too can find out how Ryan's done it, and he's going to teach you how you can do it too. All right. That's it. We're wrapping it up today at Stager Talk. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, happy staging.
Thank you.
Bye.